This is 100%, taking stock of the greatest things on Earth. From incredible machines to natural wonders, to extraordinary people and iconic landmarks. We'll count them all to reveal the amazing facts behind the stats. In the next hour, you'll discover everything you'll ever need to know about planes. We've scoured all corners of the globe to find the biggest, the fastest, the deadliest, and the downright strange.
Stall, stall.
For the first time ever, we'll count and categorise every single one, unearthing the key stats, major facts, and big surprises behind 100% of the world's planes. There are almost 400,000 planes on the planet, and here they are, categorised in our 100% count. But how does a plane make our 100%? Well, it must be heavier than air, so no balloons. It needs a fixed wing, so no helicopters. It must have an engine, so no gliders. And of course, it has to fly. So let's start our count at 0% and take a look at the findings of our first category. Well, they're glamorous, they're deadly, and there are over 30,000 of them, which means military planes make up 8% of all the planes in the world. And who'd have thought that only 50% of them are actually used in combat? Incredibly, only half of all military planes can fight. But what they lack in numbers, they make up for in some of the plane world's most impressive stats. Here are 3 deadly fighting machines from America. The F-15 Eagle didn't lose a single dogfight in 3 decades, making it arguably the most successful modern-day fighter. The A-10 Warthog has a face for scaring tanks and a gun for busting them. It boasts the world's most powerful aircraft cannon, firing more than 1,030 centimetre long bullets in under 18 seconds, so you'll certainly see it coming. Unlike this, the F-22 Raptor, one of the most successful stealth fighters ever built.
There's nothing else to touch it. It's hugely agile, very, very powerful. It can fly a long way, it carries a lot of air-to-air missiles, it's got a superb radar.
It's a very light aircraft, but it is a large aircraft to go a long way with a large weapons load. And of course, it's got its stealth characteristics. A very, very effective and impressive aircraft.
So that's 3 American combat planes that rule the skies. But there's a challenger from Europe that claims it can do all of their jobs at once. This is the Eurofighter Typhoon, said to be the most versatile combat plane on the planet.
An aircraft like this really does take your breath away. It's a phenomenal jet, it's a phenomenal feeling, and sometimes you can't really believe how lucky you are to be doing such a fantastic job.
At BAE Systems in England, pilot Mark Bowman is going to put the Typhoon to the test.
You know, from my perspective, I'm the test pilot here. You know, I have to go and make sure this does what it says on the tin.
Oxford Marine and controlled airspace, radar control, and it'll be a right turn for the northbound leg, maintain flight 130 for coordination.
What sets the Typhoon apart is its ability to dogfight and bomb in a single mission, known as swing roll capability.
At the moment, swing roll is what everybody is talking about, because in my day, you had a ground attack aircraft, you had an air defence aircraft, you had a defence suppression aircraft. There's no point in training all of those different crews, all of those different types of aircraft, all of those different types of munitions, if you can get it all into one aircraft.
The Typhoon is over the Irish Sea, in an area called the Supersonic Corridor. Here, Mark must first seek out and destroy a simulated hostile plane.
Hostile group now at 55 miles. Okay, within range now and taking the first shots.
The enemy is destroyed, and next in this multi-million-dollar machine's war game, the Typhoon turns its bombs on a ground target.
17, please call weapon splash.
The target coming hard right, how did that look?
Copy that, all in telemetry, looked good from where we are.
Target destroyed and virtual mission over. So is the Typhoon the king of all combat?
The jack of all trades, but just about the master of about everything, I'd say. It's awesome.
I think that's a yes. But the battle for air supremacy never ends, and the F-35 Lightning II reckons it can take the Eurofighter's military crown. It's still in top secret development, but has already been dubbed the future of combat. It's stealthy, it dogfights, it carries cruise missiles, some even land vertically. The last of our combat planes are the heavy bombers. Here are our top three. The B-52 Stratofortress is the biggest of the American fleet, carrying 32 tons of weaponry. But that's trumped by the Russian Tu-160, carrying a whopping 40 tons. It's the biggest bomber in the world. And then there's the B-2 Spirit. Its 18 tons may sound like small fry, but this stealth plane can deliver its bombs undetected and holds the record for the longest ever bombing raid from America to Afghanistan without stopping.
It just reeks of technology. A flying wing. Why did they do that? Because they could.
Next in our count, there's no shortage of pilots putting in the flying hours in the hope of getting their combat wings. That's why 29% of all military planes are used for training. But when you're flying a high-tech, high-speed plane, there's a lot that can go wrong. Here are our top three military plane escapes. Anatoly Kavocha is flying his MiG-29 at 180 kilometers an hour when one of the engines fails and he ejects. Slowed down, you can see his incredible landing, just meters from the burning plane. Even highly trained pilots can make mistakes. Captain Chris Strickland is flying his F-16 near the Rocky Mountains in Idaho. But he's forgotten to recalibrate ground level at this high altitude location. Now he's turning towards the ground, but runs out of space. He ejects less than a second before impact. Amazingly, he survives. Combat is the greatest test of training, as our aviation expert and former RAF navigator John Nichol discovered in our #1 military escape.
It is constant in the military that you are permanently preparing for the worst. And with that, it means that when the worst happens, you've practiced it.
In the 1991 Gulf War, John's Tornado GR-1 was hit by an Iraqi surface-to-air missile. His life was saved by split-second decision-making.
The aircraft was on fire. You pull a handle and technology takes over. It takes over, I think, in 1/100th of a second, but it feels like a lifetime. And so you accelerate from 0 to 200 miles an hour upwards under 15 or 16 times the force of gravity in about a second. And then suddenly you're tumbling like a sycamore leaf, and then there's another crack, and the parachute opens automatically and the seat's fallen away, and there's silence, and you're just floating down. The ejector seat is the ultimate get-out clause. You really can get out of almost impossible situations, and your life can be saved.
So which incredible military planes are still hiding in our 100% count? Our stats reveal 16% are transporters, the big boys of the military fleet. One of the first and most famous was the Spruce Goose, a giant wooden plane designed to carry 750 troops in the Second World War. It's still the largest ever flying boat, but became obsolete after its maiden flight, so doesn't make our 100%. This does though. The Galaxy C5 is a true giant of the military fleet. It can carry 100 tons of armoured vehicles across 3,500 kilometres of skies, thanks to the 200,000 litres of fuel stored in its huge wings. But biggest isn't always best. Because this, the C-130 Hercules, is the most common military transporter in our count. 2,400 have been built to carry troops, cargo, airborne hospitals, or even been converted into fearsome gunships.
Can operate from sand, ploughed fields, ice, snow, desert, you know, you name it, almost any flat surface, and it'll be capable of getting in and out.
It's claimed there's a Hercules in the air every minute of every day. And the next to fly is in Karlsborg, where the Swedish Army is training its paratroopers by chucking them off the tailgate. At nearly 30 metres long, with a payload of 20 tonnes, this Hercules is designed to carry 64 airborne troops, fully laden with kit and weapons, to survive behind enemy lines. Today is the first time these soldiers will jump out of a plane. They're in safe hands, though, because this 50-year-old veteran is Europe's longest ever serving C-130.
It's a great platform. It's big, it's easy for us jump masters to work in it, and it's easy exiting as a jumper.
The jump site is 3 kilometres away. It's the pilot's job to keep this 34-ton plane steady just 200 metres above the ground.
Those pilots up the front are incredibly skillful at keeping the Hercules down low to the ground, away from the danger zones, using the ground for protection. But that means that for those of us down the back, it was a damned unpleasant experience. Many an unhappy hour have I spent filling up the RAF sick bags in the back of a Hercules.
The recruits are approaching the drop zone.
So far, so good.
After leaving the C-130, the jumpers have just 50 seconds before they hit the ground.
I'm looking if they have the right the body position before landing.
Because the design has been so relatively simple, they've been able to continually upgrade it until an awful lot of operators have decided that the best replacement for a Hercules is another Hercules.
The jump masters say their goodbyes to this amazing plane from 2 kilometres further up.
C-130 is our best friend, so it's perfect.
So what are the last few military planes in our 100%? Some are so secret, they're almost impossible to count. But we have. The last 5% of military planes are used for special ops. The Blackbird SR-71 was designed for long-range reconnaissance at speeds of almost 3,500 kilometres an hour, making it the world's fastest jet plane. But it's now retired, so it doesn't make our 100%. But here's another decades-old design that does make the count. The U-2 spy plane gathers intelligence from the edge of space. 21 kilometres up, it's the highest-flying single-engine special ops plane. But coming down to Earth is tricky. With giant wings that are prone to flap around, the U-2 is regarded as the world's toughest plane to land. A second pilot has to help guide the plane down from a chase car. So that's military planes, 8% of our global fleet. Next on 100%, something we could have never predicted. 67% of all the planes in the world are flown for recreation. The stats reveal it's the biggest category, and a whopping 64% of them are used purely for fun. They come in all shapes and sizes and are owned by amateur flyers and performers alike. And here are 3 of our favourites. The single-engine Cessna 210 is a plane with many uses. This particular one is helping 22-year-old Carlo Schmidt from Switzerland to become the youngest pilot to fly solo around the globe in just 80 days.
Flying for me is the biggest passion I have. I was always dreaming about flying, and now I realize my dream to fly around the world, and it's just fantastic.
Not your idea of fun? How about this then? When the pilots of the South Korean Air Force aren't flying military missions, they get their kicks in these T-50 Golden Eagles. These 8 planes were originally built as supersonic military trainers, but now they allow these elite pilots to show off their flying skills and make our count as fun planes. And here are 4 planes that have captivated millions of people. Almost 10,000 of these Boeing Stearman 75s were built in the 1930s and 40s. Their supercharged engines compensate for the drag caused by the wing walkers, making them the perfect plane for this unusual job. Back to the count. And a further 8% of all recreational planes are used for training. And proving that training doesn't have to be boring, it's the Pitts Special S2C, the most decorated aerobatic plane in the world. Mike Rocket Blackstone has been flying in stunt planes since the age of 8. Today, he's going to teach first-time stunt flyer Merrick Manor how to pull off 2 maneuvers.
You ready to do it?
Ready.
We go out there, we're going to go straight up, pull G's, do torque rolls, tail slides, fly inverted. You name it, this plane will do it.
As of right now, it feels okay. Hopefully, once we get those G's rolling, I won't be having to use a sick bag over here. I hope not.
Got it.
Right, here we go.
The Pitts Special can climb at almost 15 meters per second.
130, here we go. Oh yeah.
Woo!
Look at us, going straight up. Awesome, huh?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, we're so high.
Pedals are pretty crazy, huh?
Yeah.
If you press on the right pedal, it forces the nose to the right. We're using the pedals to counteract the torque. The engine's rotating from left to right, which is forcing the nose to go left. The bottom line is you need a little right rudder as you're flying along to control that. So you feel like you got a little pressure on the right side to make it go straight.
Time for Merrick's first stunt.
Ready to try a roll?
Yeah.
Is your seatbelt tight?
Yeah, it's tight.
We're going to roll it to the left on the count of 3.
To the left?
2, hard left 1.
With a top speed of more than 300 kilometers an hour, the Pitts Special can roll at 360 degrees per second.
That's a roll. What'd you think?
Oh my God!
It's so cool, right?
Yeah!
Awesome. Ready for a loop?
Ready for a loop.
We're going to dive down.
Time for the second stunt.
We're going to pull straight back. We're going to put some G's on this thing. You ready?
Okay, so we're diving down right now.
Diving down. Nice smooth push.
Right now?
Forward. Hold that angle. Hold it just like that. There's 180. Tighten up your stomach. We're going to give you some G's.
Okay.
3, 2, 1. From 200. Pull. Straight back up. Pull. Harder. Look out the right side. Look out the right. We're going over the top. Tip your head back. Look at this view. Look straight up. Look at this. Look up. Tighten up your stomach and pull. Give me some more G's. Right through the smoke. Yeah. Beautiful. Sweet.
We went upside down, and so it was like negative G's, right? And so we pulled. This was crazy. This was probably the hardest one. But we pulled under, and then we went through like this, but it was still pulling me up. So it was like defying gravity, and then we went all the way back down. It was amazing.
That's the lesson over. And now Mike and his fellow pilot Ron Rapp in his Extra 300L are going to show what these stunt planes can do in the hands of experts.
I think with an aerobatic pilot, you've got to be very supremely confident in what you're doing, because it is quite dangerous and you're deliberately putting the aircraft right to the flying limit.
Reduce your power slightly.
The nearest thing you could really look at that is roller coasters. I mean, that's what it's like, except that rather than being on rails, you are in charge of where you're going. And of course, you've got to think in 3D.
I don't get the enjoyment. I don't understand why you want to throw yourself around the sky. I admire their skills, but you wouldn't really catch me doing it as a hobby.
So aerobatic flying looks absolute madness. But our next stat sounds completely mad. Our 100% count shows that a massive 12% of recreational planes are homemade. Many pilots use kits, like this Zenith CH-701. But this truly is a one-off, the Dutch-built Verhees Delta. It fits on the back of a truck, unfolds into something that looks more like a UFO than a plane, and amazingly, it flies. Very well, in fact. And can you imagine which type of plane is the smallest of our entire fleet? Making up the final 16% of recreational planes, it's microlights. There are more than 40,000 microlights on the planet, which means there are around 40,000 people who think it's fun to strap themselves to a lawnmower attached to a hang glider. So that's the vast array of the world's recreational planes, all present and correct. Next in our 100% count, a category of plane on the front line of aerial operations, emergency and utility. They're absolutely vital, but account for a tiny percentage, just 1% of the global fleet. And a massive 79% are working planes, like these crop sprayers, but they're not exactly life-saving, unless you're a field of corn. These next aircraft, though, are real heroes of the skies. 4% of emergency and utility planes are aerial firefighters. Wildfires blight every continent outside Antarctica. In 2011, America lost over 35,000 square kilometres of land after more than 70,000 wildfires. It's a big problem, and this is one big solution. A DC-10 specially converted to carry 45,000 litres of fire suppressant to dump over some of the biggest blazes on the planet. Kevin Hopf is an aerial firefighter. His job is to drop his plane's load with pinpoint accuracy. Every 8 days, they take on training missions. Today's target is a concrete runway just 45 metres wide.
It's been a little more than a week since we've flown, so we're going to go up and just stay proficient at what we do. Okay, I got him down low. The flaps 35, set speed 150. This will be a low approach, guys. We'll go down to about 3,100 feet. Okay, stand by.
Pre-drop checklist complete.
The DC-10 spreads its suppressant wider than any other firefighting plane. And Kevin hits the target dead centre.
You can see out there where we just dropped, you'll see a large wet spot over the runway there. Yeah, pretty much went right where I wanted it to go. Yeah, it was a good day. That if we'd have been on a live fire, I think we all would have been real happy with that drop. Soaked the runway, didn't it?
Next in this vital category, air-sea rescue planes. At only 1%, you'd think there'd be more of them. But most ocean rescuers use helicopters, leaving just a few seaplanes, like this Japanese Shinmeiwa US-2. And how reassuring is this? The final 16% are used by flying doctors. These medics are part of the Royal Flying Doctor Service in Australia. They fly almost 27 million kilometres each year, helping move over 40,000 patients in need. So that's emergency and utility planes, saving people, forests and fields of corn the world over. So far on 100%, we've counted thousands of military, recreational and emergency planes. Next, a very familiar type of plane, but the stats are surprising. Since the 50s, we've enjoyed an ever-increasing love affair with passenger planes. So much so, there are now 80,000 of them in our count. But that's still only 21% of all the world's planes. But the real revelation, most of them are executive planes, making up 62% of the passenger fleet. For those of us without private jets, it's reassuring to discover that many executives travel on small prop planes, like this Beechcraft Super King Air. But the top end of the market is dominated by lavish jets. This is how the super wealthy fly.
You know, what they expect is pretty much what they demand on the ground, and that is literally to have basically every whim catered for. And they can do that because we are talking about some of the most powerful and recognizable people in the whole planet. Business tycoons, CEOs, performers, athletes, celebrities, pop culture icons, when they get in the air in a private jet, they don't want to have any worries. these charter services are in business to cater to their every whim. This Gulfstream 3 can travel 4,200 miles on one tank of gas, which means you could go from Washington, D.C. to Geneva, you could go from New York City to London or Paris, no problem. So that's a fair amount of time that you're going to be in the air, and you want to be pampered, at least these people do. I mean, it really would blow your mind to see the level of opulence that's inside. If you wanted to purchase one of these in American dollars, you're looking at minimum $30 million.
If a Gulfstream's not big enough for you, how about a private super jumbo? This is the interior of the world's biggest luxury jet, a revamped A380, rumoured to have cost $500 million. Next on 100%, some luxurious planes that are not quite as exclusive as the big executive jets. The 10% of passenger planes called light air taxis. This is the category of plane that provides short hops for up to 50 passengers. They're not the biggest planes, but this one, the Cessna 172, is actually the most common plane on the planet. 45,000 172s have been built, including this, a seaplane that taxis tourists around San Francisco's Golden Gate Bridge.
We are ready to go.
It's a very versatile airplane. It's not the fastest, it's not the most aerobatic, but at the same time it does everything right. And if you've got your license, you can jump away these airplanes, it's easy to fly. You know, these airplanes were built in the late 50s is when the 172 started, and they're still making them, so they're still in production to this day. This is one of those jobs where it's not difficult to get up and go to work every day. And we're back on the water.
The 172 handles the choppy waters. But the prize for the toughest landings on the planet goes to another air taxi. This is the Pilatus Porter, built for the shortest and most dangerous runways in the world. This one's about to be tested to its limit in the remote mountains of Papua, Indonesia. Pilot Sven Imsund must land on runways cut by hand into the mud at villages surrounded by dense jungle.
It's obviously a tropical island with huge mountains, so we got humid air that has to go up, and that creates all this weather around us. There's enough hazards out there that can bite you. As soon as you think you know everything about flying, stop, because that's when you get killed.
For his 6 passengers, the Porter is a vital lifeline. But in recent years, pilots and passengers have been killed in plane crashes here. Dangerously slow speeds are the only way to land on runways this short. And Sven has to virtually stall the plane on the approach.
Stall.
The runways are sloping, muddy and littered with hazards.
You can see the pigs over there. Well, there is no way we can go around, so we just plow through them. That's the only option we have, either them or us. So far I killed about 5 pigs with the Porter.
It's Sven's final mission of the day. A villager needs medical attention fast.
He has to go to the hospital in Nabere, and the other guy is his escort.
The hospital is 53 kilometers away. The end of the runway is only a few meters away, but it's no problem for this plane.
Be talking to tower, request an ambulance at the field, so we don't lose any time.
The Porter's final landing of the day is also its easiest. For a mercy mission against the clock, the tarmac of Nabire is a welcome sight. Back to our 100% count. And 9% of passenger planes are regional airliners, designed to take up to 100 passengers on short-haul flights. Bigger still are the holiday-bound passenger jets we're all used to. You might think there are millions of them, but there's only 15,000 in the whole world. They're called mainliners, and they make up just 19% of all passenger planes. Here are three well-travelled favourites. Boeing 747 is the classic jumbo jet, a plane so iconic, some people even pay to sleep in one. This is the Jumbo Hotel at Arlanda Airport in Sweden. Sporting views of the runway and a penthouse fully equipped with a steering column and thrusters.
This is the only jumbo jet in the world that's rebuilt to a hostel and a hotel. And right now we're in the cockpit suite. So you can actually sleep two people in here and you can pretend that you're a pilot. It's cool.
The Jumbo is no longer the biggest. That accolade goes to the Airbus A380. Its double decks could squeeze in more than 850 passengers, although so far, no airline company's been so cruel. And this is the Boeing 737, the best-selling passenger plane. More than 7,000 have been built, and at any one time, more than 1,000 of them are flying, which means, incredibly, a 737 takes off every 5 seconds. To maintain this phenomenal record, the American Airlines team in Los Angeles are working against the clock to turn around this 737. The plane's got to be back in the air in just 45 minutes. And we've all grumbled about airline food, but spare a thought for these staff who somehow manage to cook and restock 25 million meals for this airline every year. And as for jet fuel, in 2011, its planes went through more than 12.5 billion litres of the stuff.
Now Lee's at 1:36, so I have until then. So, not very long. This thing's late. I have a half an hour.
We're looking for anything in here as far as that we have good tread on the tires, proper inflation levels. And we're looking along the fuselage itself, make sure our emergency exits again are all flush against. Brake pins, proper extension on the strut itself down here, the top of the wing. Make sure all of our bolts are in the rim itself. We have proper tire pressures. If I don't feel safe, no one's going. So basically, safety is of the utmost importance.
The airline also processes 250,000 bags every day.
We load up the bags, and then we have to take it to the inbound bag room. As fast as is safe, that's pretty much the rule of thumb. Safety first. We're the best, we're LA, what do you expect?
And this is just one of American Airlines' 3,500 daily flights. And this 737, just one of almost 900 planes.
The people that are here now have been here a long time. So pretty much everybody knows their job. You don't have to stay on top of everybody to hound everybody to get their job done. When we come out to the airplane, we're pretty much just concerned with getting our job done and getting the plane out.
Now prepped and ready, it's the small matter of a 3,500 kilometre hop to Toronto. Next on 100%, some comforting stats for anyone travelling on a passenger plane. If you're worried about being caught in a catastrophic accident, don't. Latest figures suggest you're almost 2,000 times more likely to die on the road than in a plane.
The simple statistics are that for all of the hundreds and hundreds of millions of passenger flights that are taken, the chances of being involved in any sort of incident at all are infinitesimally small. And even if you are involved in an incident, the chances of being hurt or, God forbid, of dying are almost negligible. You've got more chance of being killed going to the airport than on your flight to go on holiday.
And even if you do crash, you might be as lucky as this next bunch of travellers, because here are our top 3 most incredible landings, where every passenger survived. This 777 sports the most powerful jet engine of all airliners. But that didn't help when BA Flight 38 crash-landed just short of London Heathrow's runway. With problems lowering its wheels, this 767 had no choice but to crash land at Warsaw Airport, with not a single injury. But the #1 spot goes to US Airways Flight 1549. It made global headlines when a flock of Canada geese forced this A320 to crash land in the Hudson River. Incredibly, all 155 people on board survived.
That was probably the nicest landing I've seen since the very first space shuttle landing back in 1981. And the aeroplane came to a stop, a nice flat stop on the river, and just sat there for long enough for 152 people to get out of it and then get taken off without much more than getting slightly wet feet as the back end of the aeroplane began to sink. You know, it was a classic example of both piloting skill and more than piloting skill, airmanship.
So that's it for the 21% of planes in the world that carry passengers. Next on our 100% count up, it's time to look at the workhorses of the sky, the mere 1% of planes that make up the world's freighters. These heavyweights are divided up by the size of their payload. At the small end, 42% of freighters carry up to 10 tons. Small planes taking small packages to small airports. 37% of freighters are mid-sized, and with payloads of between 10 and 60 tons, they can carry some pretty interesting cargo. This Airbus A300 is shipping Formula One cars for a multi-billion-dollar industry that needs its fast cars to get round even faster. And if moving cars looks like a big job, how about shifting a passenger jet? This Beluga is designed to carry huge plane parts between factories. And this Boeing 767 has a precious cargo of its own. This is JJ, the Sumatran tiger. He's about to go on the longest journey of his life, from Ohio to England, for a date with a tigress.
It's always a concern moving animals like this for such a long period of time. And we estimate he's going to be probably 25 hours in a box, so he's going to be a bit grumpy about it. Yeah, I know, mate.
With any live cargo, time is crucial, especially so with a dangerous and critically endangered tiger.
One of the requirements that we needed to achieve was to move JJ within a 24-hour period. So we actually changed some of our global flight operations around in order to accommodate his special trip today.
This is the first time JJ's taken to the air. The ground staff are doing everything they can to keep him calm, so that he goes into the hold without a fight.
Yeah, we have a few different other animals come through here, but I think this might be my first tiger.
I still can't believe how relaxed he is. And he's great. And you know what? I think when we get back to London tomorrow night, I wouldn't be surprised if we have to poke him to wake him up.
And with JJ safely stowed away in the 767, it's just another 6,000 kilometres before he can enjoy his date. The final freighters in our count are the real heavy loaders, because 21% of cargo planes can carry payloads of more than 60 tons. Competing for top dog in this category are 3 planes. The Boeing 747 freighter is the most common of all heavy freight planes. This one's got space for an army of delicate terracotta warriors from the 3rd century BC. The Dreamlifter boasts the world's largest hold. It has a cargo space of nearly 2 million litres and is used to carry the parts of the new Boeing 787 all around the world. But in a class of plane where weight trumps all else, there can be only one winner. This is the Antonov 225. And in our 100% count, it's the world's biggest plane, the world's heaviest plane, and it's carried the greatest payload ever. Only one was ever completed. It was designed to carry the Russian spacecraft, Buran Orbiter. Nowadays it settles for massive tanks and trucks.
The
The 225 is a special case. There's actually only one of them.
It's just so impressive by the way they've designed the aircraft for very large loads, huge mass that it can carry.
It's so big, it's absolutely massive. It even has its own built-in cranes.
And when they've run out of power, they've just added more engines.
So the Antonov concludes the 1% of all planes that make up the world's freighters. We've got just one category left to go in our 100% count of all the world's planes. What could be left, and where could they take us? The last aircraft in our 100% count include the world's most technologically advanced planes. The final 2% is science and tech. The bulk of this category, 96%, is dominated by aerial observation craft. These are the planes that chart terrain or monitor weather. And this P-3 Orion flies through some of the world's most extreme weather as a hurricane hunter. Its crew fly it directly into winds over 240 kilometers an hour. Then they release probes into the storm to collect data. Strengthened for danger, this sturdy plane has been successfully tackling hurricanes for nearly 40 years. Next are the 2% of science and tech planes classed as test beds. These are the planes that try out new aviation technology. Like this Jetstream 31, used to test software that one day could allow ordinary planes to fly completely unmanned. And some of the most cutting-edge aviation tech is top secret. The final 2% of our final category is the prototypes, the planes that could change the face of flying forever. This is the Solar Impulse from Switzerland. It can fly across continents and never needs refueling because it's solar-powered. In 2012, it set the record for the longest solar-powered flight when it flew 6,000 kilometers from Europe to Africa and back again. This Ariane supersonic business jet certainly isn't as fuel efficient, but it's claimed it'll travel much faster than the Solar Impulse. It's still in development, so hasn't quite made our 100% count yet. One day it hopes to be the world's fastest executive jet, with speeds of 2,000 kilometers an hour and an equally impressive price tag of $80 million. Or what about a future plane that's been on the drawing board for half a century? The flying car was a 1950s dream. It was hoped that this would be the future of personal travel. 50 years later, this, the Terrafugia Transition, is one of the first genuinely viable flying cars, because owning a separate plane and car is so last century.
I think the ability to fly around in a truly personal way has always been a dream. It sounds fantastic. We'd all love to do it.
I'd really like it. You know, I'm like many people, it's the year 2000, where's my flying car?
We've got a vast majority of people who can't drive their own cars properly on the road, and here we are talking about giving them an aeroplane.
It's a great idea, and of course it's something that lots of us would like to be able to do, because you could drive out of the garage and just line yourself up with the road and take off and then go and land somewhere at a friend's house.
I cannot see in our lifetime that becoming the normality for people to jump in their car, to go at the end of their drive, take off and fly to work. That's not going to happen, or if it is, I'm not going to be doing it.
And here's the last plane to stake a claim for inclusion in our 100%, the Boeing X-51 Wave Rider. It uses a futuristic engine called a scramjet and is designed to travel at over 6,000 kilometers an hour. It sounds like pure science fiction, but on the 26th of May 2010, it flew at 5 times the speed of sound, achieving the record for the longest ever hypersonic flight. OK, it only lasted 200 seconds before falling out of the sky, but we're counting it because it's so cool. So with science and tech, we've accounted for all the planes on the planet. The incredible, the powerful, the fun, and the truly futuristic. Now we know how many there are, where they are, and what they do. We know 100%.